Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Pooh, and welcome to week 59. Well, the end of week 59. I have fucked this up so many times. This is like the fifth time I've tried to do this. So, you're getting a good one now. This is what we're going to be sticking with. There was noise going on in the background. There were things flying all over the place. There were days and weeks that were getting all muddled up and everything else. But anyway, I think we're okay now, and no one's noticed, so we're good. This week is a little bit different because normally I've been doing normally for 7 times. I've been doing my sort of weekly updates on weigh-in day, and as of right now, I haven't done my weigh-in. My official weigh-in day isn't until Sunday, so I have yet to do that. Um, it's a little bit odd doing it now because I'm trying to sort of get things so that these are eventually going to sort of creep into Wednesdays. So that we can sort of do a middle of the week thing, and I can say, well, here's what my weigh-in was, here's what I've done the past few days, here's what I'm looking to do in the next few days, and then just sort of go from there. So at least it's like at a nice midway point. But this week I haven't really made much progress. Last week I gained, which I didn't really put too much stock in because at the time I had thought, well, it's just leftover stuff that's still sitting in there from the night before. Because I had gone sort of way overboard the night before, but what I find is that during this week, I haven't really, I'm lower than I was, but not as low as I thought it was going to be. And again, because I take little sneak peeks throughout the week and see what happens, and I didn't mean for that to rhyme as well as it did, but hey, neat. But right now, I don't feel like I've made as much progress as I should have, which is even weirder because I did something this week which, number one, I thought I was never going to be able to do, and number two, should really be giving me some progress. So there are a few things, of course, going on in my head. Number one, I have to keep reminding myself, chances are, whatever your weight is, it's because, it's something that you're doing. I'm not eating properly, which I'm trying to figure that out because I've been doing fairly well. You're not doing something that I'm not doing, obviously, correct. Because it's not that, I'm still way below my calories and doing exercise and still gaining. It's impossible. You can't do it. So I think part of the reason is that I had been munching on sunflower seeds throughout the entire week. That's been my sort of go-to snack for the week, which is not good. It's not great. It's better than chips and crackers and cookies and somewhat, I guess. But there's still a lot of salt. There's a lot of fat, even though it's healthy fats, which we talked about a long, long time ago. But still, it is very high calorie food. And you say, well, there's fiber and everything else. Yeah, but it's still a high calorie food. And actually, last night I found myself, just because there was like a little bit left, snacking on them and not paying attention because I was watching a movie. And I haven't done that in a very long time. So, but they're all gone. So I'm hoping that I'm going to smarten the fuck up and start, getting to where I need to be. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see exactly how much progress I've made. I know it's not going to be as much as I wanted to. And in doing the new exercises and stuff like that, and the stuff that I did earlier on this week as well, I would think it's going to contribute somewhat, but we'll see. And I'll let you know next week. See? So now there's like a cliffhanger in order to find out how fat did he get, or how thinner, how much less did he, anyway, you know what I mean. It's going to be weird because it's trying to do these weekly. I don't know where, I sort of have an idea as to where they should go, but it's going to take a little, there's some adjustments that we need to make. But this week I did something, actually going back to last week, at the end of last week on Friday, I really wanted to try something different. So instead of doing, I did my regular treadmill throughout the week, as I normally do, which is generally 10 or 15 minutes of walking, and then 15 minutes or so of jogging, and then I go back to walking, and then I go back to jogging until I'm done an hour. And, that might be contributing to it. We'll get to that in a second. I think I may have sort of figured out something. So generally, it's about an hour of exercise, and it ends up being around 7 kilometers that I travel because, I walk at 5 kilometers and I jog at 9. So even those out, there you go, roughly 7 kilometers. So what I wanted to do on Friday, though, last Friday, was I wanted to see if I could just sort of combine those and push myself and really actually do a proper 5K, which I was able to do. I walked for a bit, and then I jogged for a full 5 kilometers, and then did my little walkie cool-downy thing. And my plan was this week that, during the weekday, I should say, Tuesday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that I would do it again to see if I could maintain that throughout the week. Well, during this week, I didn't do it on Sunday, and I have yet to do it today. I'm excluding weekends from this, but during the week, all 5 days, I was able to actually run a 5K. And I'm going to keep using the term run because jogging sounds weird, and every time I start talking about it, I just say run. 9 kilometers an hour is about as fast as I can run. I could really go all out and sprint, but it's a slow trot. But you know what I mean, because we've had this conversation before. That's what I'm going to call it. But for 5 days in a row, I was able to actually run a 5K. My version of running a 5K. So now what I'll normally do, and this is where I kind of went, oh, wait a minute, maybe that's affecting it. I'll generally walk for about half a kilometer, 6 or 7 minutes, and just to sort of warm up. And then I do the 5K, and then I walk again for another half kilometer. So it comes out to around 6 kilometers. But 5 kilometers of that is sustained running for me. And I thought, that should sort of counteract, because I'm not doing it for a full hour. The time that I'm actually running is around 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes, which is longer than I normally would do the 15, 15, 15, 15. But because I'm not walking as far, I'm done earlier, and I'm only doing 6 kilometers instead of 7. So I'm wondering if that extra kilometer a day is enough to make a difference. So I don't know. Maybe what I'll do is, walk for a kilometer, then do the 5K, then cool down for a kilometer. Might do that this week. See how things turn out that way. I never thought I was ever going to be able to run a 5K, let alone 5 days in a row. And it wasn't that, normally with something like this, if you're starting out especially, and you start doing something like that, when I first started actually doing the treadmill, when I started jogging a little bit more, instead of just doing the regular walking, I would have to take some time because usually by the end of the week I was sore and I couldn't really keep up to where I was going. And that really sort of led to me getting a little bit stagnant with that, where I would say, okay, well, I'm going to run for 15 minutes straight. So I would do 15, 15, 15, and then usually Thursday it would drop down to 13, and then by Friday, 10 minutes. Because I wasn't used to it, my body would be sore, and so then I split it up into, and this is why I decided to do it this way this week, was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so I'd have those 2 rest days in between. But this week I wanted to see just, how bad would it be if I actually went through the entire week, the entire weekdays, we go Monday through Friday, to see if I could actually do it that way. And although Friday it was tiring by the end of it, it wasn't enough for me to say, oh, I can't, I wouldn't have been able to say, oh, no, I was worn out. I couldn't do it on Friday without feeling really guilty and knowing I was bullshitting myself. So it was nice. I've run 5Ks this week. How weird is that? So I know what my next goal is, of course, now that I can do that, is once I get to a point where it's, I know, I still feel like it's contributing, because I'm usually sweaty and gross by the end of it. I'm still out of breath. I'm still my breath is where it needs to be. Eventually, I will be building on that. I'm not going to sort of add that in. I'm keeping a running tally of how much distance I've actually traveled, walking and running for Series 2, but I'm not going to throw that in and say, well, now we need to combine this and this and this with Series 2. I am going to keep a running tally on that, though, because I want to know how far I've traveled in a year. But I know that eventually I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to need to start expanding that again. So that really my next goal is, can I do a 10K? And I think it's something that I probably could do. I wouldn't be able to do it 5 days a week right now. But I think that's an hour of running. That's over an hour of running, really. That might get a little wonky. I don't think I'm really there yet at all. But I think that doing a 5K is that's my new schedule for the morning. I probably should walk a little bit more just to even it up to that 7 kilometers to bring it up to where it needs to be. But by doing the running this way, I'm running less. I'm exercising less because I'm only exercising for about 45 or 50 minutes instead of the full hour. But so if I can even that out, so at least I can say, okay, I've still done an hour, even if it's 10 minutes of walking, and then do the 5K, then however long it takes to cool down after that. I have tried to, the reason why I do a cool down afterwards, I'm sure there are some, exercise benefits or medical benefits to it as well, instead of just stopping because they say, no, you should do a cool down and everything else. For me, it's because I've tried just jogging and then stopping, and it feels weird. It really does. I always have to warm up because if I just start right in, I'm going to pull something or yank something or twang something and it's going to be bad. But when I first start out, I like to warm up and everything is fine, and then I get my breathing going, and then I can start in. When I'm done, I've tried doing it so that okay, I'm done my run and stop. And aside from that abruptness of just stopping, going from a jog to not running at all, I don't know what it is. It feels really really weird that I don't know. I can't explain it because I don't exercise. Like that's the thing. This is still fairly new because we haven't been doing this for years and years and years so that we can get used to it. But when I'm done my jog, I like to just sort of cool down a little bit by continuing to walk, just so that I'm not. I don't know. It's a nice smooth transition into just being sweaty and not being out of breath and huffy and puffy and everything else. When I stop just immediately after running, it doesn't feel right. Not that I think I'm going to pull anything, but I don't have that. I don't know. My body's like, and it doesn't really know what to do with itself. So it's really hard to explain. For those of you that maybe have experienced that, then you're going to know what I mean, and you can probably explain it better than I can. Leave it below if you can. But for me, I'm just like, I don't know. It feels odd. So that's why I do that cool down at the end of it. So if I just sort of extend that out a little bit, and then gradually build up so that I'm running a 6K and then 6.5 and 7. I was going to say 6 and then 7. I'm like, no, let's cut it back to an extra half kilometer at a time. I can gradually keep building up that way. So that'll be probably my end goal for, we'll say, another year or so, that I can run for 10 kilometers, which is still a very, very long distance. But again, a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to probably walk a 5K without just dying. So being able to run it, I've had a nice sense of accomplishment this week. Although I didn't do anything on Saturday and I haven't done anything today, but I am going to just do a regular walk on the weekends, I think. I like having that activity in there. My thing was all twinkly, sorry. I like still having that activity in there. I find that if I just don't do anything, I kind of feel guilty, which is weird. Although I could say, well, no, I should rest. You ran 25 kilometers, 30 kilometers. But if I do, if I keep going the way I'm going, I'll be able to build and build and build and just sort of go from there. But I want to keep going on the weekends as well, because I find the weekends are the toughest time for me. Because during the week, I have a very set schedule. I get up at the same time. I start losing my voice. I do my treadmill. I take my lunch with me to work. So there's a definite structure to my day. During the weekends, I don't have to get up at any particular time. I don't have to go anywhere. I have the weekends to myself. And I find that is where my failing is, because I don't have that structure, and it's my own fault, obviously. I should be able to just say, no, you need to get up at this time and do this. Here are the times that you eat. That's when I really need to do meal planning, I suppose, is on the weekend, instead of just going, well, I don't know what I really want. During the week, it's fairly easy because I know what I'm having for breakfast and lunch every single day. And then usually supper is pretty similar every single day. But during the weekend, it's a free-for-all. I can do whatever I want. I still try to stay under, but last week, of course, did not. And last night, actually, yesterday, because of the mindless snacking, and I've got to account for this, the fact that I've overeaten with sunflower seeds, that put me over. Quite a bit over, like 400 calories. Because again, they're very high-calorie foods. It's still better than eating, like 5 hot dogs or 10 pizzas or something, which I can't even do anymore. But not enough for me to say, oh, well, it's perfectly okay because they're sunflower seeds. There's still a lot of salt and fat and everything else in there that we try to get away from. So, yeah. No excuses for that one at all. Just a matter of going, wasn't paying attention, and I went over. So we will see what my weigh-in brings this week, and I will update you at the end of next week. And then probably starting near the end of the next week, once I start getting into a proper schedule with all this stuff, then we'll sort of creep things. Anyway, slowly start moving things over to Wednesdays. Because I think if we do the regular, have Series 2 on the weekends and then have the regular weight updates in the middle of the week, maybe that'll sort of, I don't know, be different days. Instead of me going, it's the end of the week, so now, week's done, I can do whatever I want. So I'm kind of hoping in my head that by doing it in the middle of the week, I can say, okay, here's what my goal was, here's what my goal is, and then come back the next week and say, okay, did I reach my goal there? Do I have another goal? Maybe that'll help. I don't know. We've sort of learned throughout the first year that we were doing this that if you're doing something and it's not working, we can change it. We aren't stuck there going, oh, it's just never going to work. Well, no, that didn't work. We can tweak it. We can change it. We can add new stuff. We can take stuff away. We can change things until we find something that does work, until it's something that's, going to work for us personally rather than just everybody anyway. So I think that might help a little bit. If it doesn't, we will tweak again and we will go from there. But that's a little ways away. Anyway, in summary for this week, lost a little bit. Don't know exactly what my weigh-in's going to be. This will be because of the way things are going, almost 2 weeks without an actual weigh-in. Right now, I can tell you that I'm about a pound and a half below where I was at my weigh-in last week, but that is from my sneak peeks, and it's after breakfast and everything else. Again, it sounds like I'm making up, like, oh no, because I had water, and then that weighs 12 pounds, and then I had a Kit Kat, which doesn't weigh anything. So I didn't have a Kit Kat, by the way. But it'll be weird because it'll be like 2 weeks between weigh-ins. But I'm going to still do my treadmill today. Probably just a regular walk. I'm not going to actually try to run. I want to take those weekends and at least have a bit of a day off that way. And then I'll probably do it tomorrow. Probably going to do my weigh-in before I do that, though, just because that feels like cheating if I walk first, because I can lose like a pound and a half on my treadmill. So, yeah, we'll figure something out that way. And then I will update you on the next one, which will be the end of week 60, and then we'll sort of start cutting in right away to the middle of week 61 and go from there. Or we might do middle of week 60. I don't know yet. No, the end of week 60 I think should end where it is. End? Did I just say that? I did. All right. So that'll end where that is, and then week 61 it'll sort of be, all right, well, it's starting with a 1, so we're okay. It's the first week starting with the new schedule, all the other stuff, and we'll go from there. I'm babbling, so I'm going to shut up. But anyway, that's what's in store for the next couple of weeks. We're going to keep doing Series 2 as well. We'll still be doing those on Sundays because that's got a different focus than this does. And I was going to start talking about that, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. Yeah, so there. Right now, I'm going to leave this video here. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep it up warm and fuzzy, and I'll see you in the next video.